Hi, I'm Jason, and welcome to the Historical Cinematic Universe. Maestro is a 2023 biopic about the lives of American composer Leonard Bernstein and his wife, actress Felicia Montealegre. The film covers nearly 5 decades of Bernstein's life, and while it does feature some notable moments in his career, such as his debut conducting the New York Philharmonic and the premiere of Mass, the focus is more on the relationship between Leonard and Felicia. Unlike Oppenheimer, which had over 60 connections to other stories in the Greater Historical Cinematic Universe, Maestro only has 2. The first is Mr. Bernstein, a short film from 2016 about Bernstein's music and how it connected a father and daughter. Naturally, Bernstein appears in the short. The second is the Audrey Hepburn story from 2000, about the life and early career of actress Audrey Hepburn, here played by Jennifer Love Hewitt. In the film, we see Hepburn auditioning to be a chorus girl for the musical High Button Shoes, with the show's choreographer Jerome Robbins noticing her and ultimately picking her as one of the girls. Jerome Robbins was a dancer, choreographer, director, and producer across theater, film, and television, winning 5 Tonys and 2 Oscars, and working with countless people in his long career, including Leonard Bernstein. Robbins briefly appeared at the beginning of Maestro, working with Bernstein on the ballet Fancy Free, which was the basis for the musical On the Town. It is through the Audrey Hepburn story that Maestro connects to the Greater Crown, which is the central narrative arc of the Greater Historical Cinematic Universe. The TV movie uses the filming of Breakfast at Tiffany's as a framing device, and features Truman Capote, the writer of the original 1958 novella, being on set and not happy with the casting of Hepburn. Truman Capote is probably one of the most notable writers of the 20th century, and naturally has been the subject of many films and shows. Most recently, in the 2nd season of Feud, titled Capote vs. the Swans, about Capote's falling out with a group of socialites, which he dubbed his Swans. One of these socialites was Lee Radziwill, the younger sister of former First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy. Radziwill appears with her sister in the 8th episode of The Crown's 2nd season, Dear Mrs. Kennedy, where they meet Queen Elizabeth II and the royal family. This means that Maestro connects to the Greater Crown in 3 degrees of separation, and through it connects to the rest of the Greater Historical Cinematic Universe. Finally, I would like to talk about missed connections, which is when a movie or show based on a true story had an excellent opportunity to feature a portrayal of a particular person, especially one that would have connected to another story, but for one reason or another did not. In Maestro's case, the most prominent misconnection is Stephen Sondheim, whom Bernstein worked with on West Side Story, which is arguably his most well-known work. Maestro could have had a brief scene of Bernstein working with Sondheim on West Side Story, but instead the film only has a passing mention of both. Sondheim does appear in Tick, Tick, Boom, the 2021 musical biopic about the late composer Jonathan Larson, the creator of Rent. At the time of Maestro's release, Tick, Tick, Boom was a standalone story with no connections to other stories. An appearance of Sondheim in Maestro would have connected Tick, Tick, Boom not only to Maestro, but also to the rest of the Greater HCU. But without Sondheim and Maestro, Tick, Tick, Boom remained a standalone until finally this year, with the release of Blue Moon, the new film by Richard Linklater, about songwriter Lorenz Hart on the opening night of Oklahoma, by his former colleague Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein. The film briefly features a young Sondheim as Hammerstein's protege, connecting Blue Moon to Tick, Tick, Boom. Now, whether Blue Moon also connects to the Greater Historical Cinematic Universe is another matter, but that will have to be for another video. If you want to see the historical cinematic universe of Blue Moon, or any other story, please let me know in the comments below. Also, please subscribe so you don't miss it. And finally, if you like this video, please leave a like. Thanks, and have a great day.